It's time to brag, be rich and generous. Brag Radio is hosted by best-selling real estate investing author Larry Goins and co-host Kandas. For the next hour, they'll show you proven and effective ways you can be successful in real estate. From the WBT studios, the flagship station of the Brag Radio Network, here are your hosts, the rock stars of real estate, Larry and Kandas.
What's happening?
How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you, Kandas?
Good.
How you doing today, Chad?
Spectacular.
We're playing late today.
We are?
Yeah. Late today.
Okay. Look, Chad's over there rocking it. So if it's your first time listening to Brag Radio, if you're flipping the station, don't change it anymore. You're at the flagship station, broadcasting in live from Uptown, Charlotte.
Is it Uptown? Which side of the highway?
It's Uptown. That's right, isn't it, Chad? Isn't it Uptown?
It's Uptown.
That's
there we
right.
go.
See, I made that mistake before. I say downtown.
I make it all the time.
No. We're not downtown. We're uptown.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is.
It's the side of the highway.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Tell him.
I don't know what Charlotte just for some reason calls it Uptown.
Really?
Part of it's downtown, though. Matt says that across some highway on some part of Charlotte is then considered downtown. But when you're on the other side of that highway, it's uptown.
It's like east and west or north and south or something?
Something like that. I don't know. I don't get caught up in that.
I have no idea. It's crazy. But if you're just tuning in for the first time, Brag Radio Network is all about being rich and generous. We teach people how to go out and invest in real estate, whether you want to be an active investor or a passive investor. And then we show you or encourage you to be generous, okay? We try to highlight students every week that on the show that are being rich and generous, that, you know, we've helped go out and make money, and they're helping others with their blessings. Right, Kandas?
That's right. It's really amazing to hear a ton of different things that, you know, don't get really publicized for being organizations that need donations, that need time, that you can get involved with. So hearing students talk about it in their local communities, in their local areas, and some of these are even national places, I think is really enlightening.
That is great. That's awesome. So on last week's show, we talked about overcoming your fears. You know,
yep.
we've had a lot of people that email in and call in, and students, and, you know, what do I do about this? What, you know, I'm just so scared. And so this week we've tried to kind of categorize a lot of the questions, and we want to be able to give you what you need. I have had so many students ask me, and I know you and I talked about this in one of our many meetings we have a day about what we do and how we do it. But I've had so many students come to me and want to know, you know, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens? You know, I just got to get started. I got to get started. How can I get started?
Right.
Right. And
well, so we flipped the question on them. So here's the thing: instead of thinking, you know, how do I get started? How do I get started? Our question to you is, what's stopping you from getting started?
And you've got a lot of questions that have come in about that, different things and reasons that people are saying, you know, well,
I'm not getting started because of this. Yeah.
If I could just do this, or
right.
Once I do this, it's not going to be perfect.
So that, no, you won't never have it's like having a baby for most people. There's not ever a perfect time to bring a child into this world, into your family, to disrupt your entire life, everything. So real estate is kind of like that too. It's kind of like, you know, bringing this new thing.
I hope your kids aren't listening.
My kids know how much they disrupt my life.
That's hilarious.
They do. So, but it is like that. I mean, you're bringing this whole new idea, like, from your head into the world, and in where they take money from, you're trying to have this make money for you. So I'm full of them today.
Oh my God!
This is what happens when we air late at night. Okay, this is what happens.
That's awesome. I love it.
Anyway.
Kandas After Dark.
That's awesome.
Yes, see, there's the afternoon me, and then there's this me.
Yes.
So, yeah, but that's what's happening. So instead of, you know, that's my first question back to somebody is, how do I get started? Well, what's stopping you from getting started right now? So, yeah, when we started getting emails kind of like that, that's when we kind of made this group here. So we'll go through some of those today.
What's in that bottle over there?
Water. Well, at least
Are you sure?
Well, it smells like water. It's enough for you. Okay. So let's look at, you know, what's stopping this one thing I got one response that I got when I asked the question, what's stopping you from getting started? They've got a full-time job. Okay. So do I. What part of your full-time job is stopping you from from getting started in real estate. So you want to speak on that, or I
do.
know my experience.
I want to speak on that, but I also want to give kind of a more of a broader response to that first.
More of a broader.
A more broader. Okay. A more broad. You know I ain't got no book learning. I'm sorry. Anyway, but working a full-time job, let me tell you something. If you want to do something, okay, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. If you want to do something, everybody's got the same 24 hours in a day. I don't care if you're working 8 hours in a job or 12 hours a day on a job, just like we do. Right, Kandas?
Right.
So it doesn't make any difference. If you don't want to do something, one excuse is just as good as the other. That's what Frank says.
Yeah.
That's what Frank, my cousin Frank, and we had lunch, all three of us the other day, and every time I say something about, he'll ask me something, and, no, I didn't do that. And it's not anything about real estate or business or anything. It was like, no, I didn't do that. He said, well, one excuse is just as good as the other.
Yeah.
Right? So working a full-time job, most people who get started in real estate, okay, they already have a full-time job. All right. Most people getting started in real estate, I don't care if you want to be an active investor or a passive investor. I don't care if you want to wholesale, you want to fix and flip, you want to be a landlord, you want to build a portfolio or a book of business and have massive passive income coming in. It doesn't make any difference. Most people who get started in real estate already have a full-time job. Now, here's the thing, Kandas, and I'm really glad that this is not only a question, but it's the first question. Most people have a full-time job. They want to learn something like real estate to get them out of their full-time job.
Some of them,
Am I right?
Yeah, some of them.
Now, there's
do.
other people out there, and we know people like this that are school teachers or firefighters or nurses. And they love what they do. They love helping people, and they want to continue doing that, right?
Right.
However, most people who get started in real estate, they have a full-time job. Now, most of what other people are out there teaching about real estate, you have to go out there and physically do it yourself. You got to go out and meet with realtors. You got to drive the streets. You got to go out on appointments. You got to go look at houses. Well, see, I learned a long, long time ago, not only about OPM, but other people's money, but also OPE. That's other people's efforts. Okay.
Right.
And one of the things that we teach that really sets us apart, and this is not a pitch on us, but it's a great question. One of the things that sets us apart is I realize that most people getting started in real estate have a full-time job. Everybody else out there that's teaching real estate is teaching everything you need to do, but you got to go out and do the stuff yourself. And what happens is you got your full-time job, you're working nights and weekends trying to do real estate. You didn't work your first job. Now you got two.
Right.
Right? So that's why what we have done, every single thing that we teach, okay, we try to simplify it and dumb it down so I can understand it. And so, because I ain't got no college degree, I ain't. So we try to simplify it.
It doesn't have to be hard. The business
not.
does not have to be hard. It takes initiative. You've got to put action into it, just like anything else. But the fundamentals of real estate are not hard.
That's right. That's right. So you can do this. I tell people all the time, and I have successful students, that if you can put 5 to 10 hours in a week, and that's nothing. That's 1 to 2 hours a day. Let me tell you something. If you turn the TV off, you'll probably find out that you're watching TV 10 to 15 hours a week, right? But if you can do 5 to 10 hours a week, you can get started in real estate. So having a job is no excuse. It's absolutely no excuse. Right, Kandas?
I don't think so.
I don't believe it is. I know because I have students that have full-time jobs and they're doing deals. And I tell people, don't quit your day job until you're making more money in real estate than you are on your job. Then you can quit your job.
All right, I'm gonna get him to calm down after answering this question. He gets all fired up about reasons people can't start. So you guys give 877-LARRY-GO a call. Request your investors kit. Come schedule a tour to come out of the office and pick up the physical one. If you're close enough, get registered for the next 3-day training we got coming up at the end of the month. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. Here we go again. Brag Radio. Here we go again.
What's happening? How you doing?
Kandas here with Larry Goins. Investing in real estate to be rich and generous is the show that you're listening to. Hopefully you guys gave the office a call, 877-LARRY-GO. Get your investor's kit and all that good stuff. We've been talking about...
free investor's kit.
Free investor's kit. There you go. We've been talking about this show this week with what's stopping you from getting started in real estate. We get a lot of questions. How do I get started? I just need to get started. Just tell me what to do to get started. Well, I have a question back to that every time is, well, what's stopping you right now from getting started? Because that's the first thing to overcome. We got to get those excuses out of the way. We've got to get those, doubtful thoughts out of the way. We've got to get those limiting beliefs out of the way so that you can actually put action to what it is you want to do. So with that, the first thing that we talked about last segment was, I have a full-time job already. So we covered that. If you guys missed that segment, send an email in to info@bragradio.com. I can give you the link for the show, or you can check the whole show out on bragradio.com. The archives get uploaded there. So this segment, I've got another one, and I like this one too. I had a student send in an email and say, I'm listening to the show and I really want to get started in real estate, but I've worked with other real estate. I forget how he put it. It wasn't the word mentor before. It wasn't as nice as that word, so we'll use programs. Yeah. I've worked with another real estate program before, and it didn't work out. So how's it going to work out this time? Part of that, though, I'm going to say, you've got to do a reality check and make sure that you are not the problem. You've got to make sure that you put action in, and it's not you. If
when
you
the
did
student
everything,
is ready.
Yeah, you can't. You can only do so much. So that's just my little preface to this thing. So there you go, Larry.
That's awesome. So the bottom line is, I've tried other programs in the past and they didn't work out. How are you different?
Right.
Is that
was the way that he brought it to me. Yeah. Well, what's going to be different this time?
Well, first of all, I'm going to start out by saying, I wish I had $1 every time somebody told me, after we'd worked with them for a while, I wish I had $1 every time one of our students told us, I wish I would have found you first.
Yeah, that is very, very true.
It's so true. It's so true. So, first of all, I'm not going to sit here and talk about other educators and trainers, but the sad truth of it is most of the people who teach real estate education, they're primarily teachers. They don't do the business anymore, okay? They teach it, they don't do it. They have big education companies. And yes, we make money in our education business. We teach people, but we have successful students all over the country, even around the world,
right,
that are doing real estate, okay?
And more than that, they're doing it at a level where they have been able to not only better their lives, but they're bettering other people's lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's people out there right now, if I gave you their name on TV and on radio, and they attribute their beginning successes to getting one of my books, getting our coaching,
first course they ever got,
first course they ever bought. They attribute that. And if you go out there and you Google it and you listen to podcasts and you hear people interview me, you'll see and you'll hear some of that stuff. People who say, I got my start with you, Larry. I did my first deal because of you. And they went on to be successful and that sort of thing. But here's the thing I want to tell you about this, okay? Education is going to be what you get out of it, okay? I talk to so many people that they bought course after course after course, bought book after book after book, and they've never done anything.
Right.
And my first response is, okay, you got all this education, but where is the application?
Right.
It's not about selling books and tapes or whatever. It's about the results. And we do whatever we can to help people get to the results very, very quickly. I heard about a guy, Kandas, a while back. He was selling a mentoring program. It was $100,000 to sign up for his mentoring program. And the student cannot even make an offer for the first 90 days. They're going through all this stuff. I'm like, man, making offers? That's the three most important things in real estate.
That's
make
the first
offers,
thing
make
you put
offers,
people-
make offers.
That's one of the first things you do with students is put them on the phone.
I guarantee you, you have zero chance of making any money in real estate if you don't make any offers.
Exactly.
So if you've tried courses, you've tried mentoring programs, you've bought books, and you've gone to seminars, don't get me wrong. I do that stuff. I get education. I've been burned before, right?
We have.
But it's like steak. Think about this. You like steak, don't you, Kandas?
I do.
You love steak, right?
Love it.
Have you ever had a bad steak?
Yes.
You still eat steak, though, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't blame me on a bad steak. Right? That's exactly right.
Right.
You can't do that.
You weren't the chef of that one.
No, not at all. Not at all. And education takes the risk out, but you're going to get some bad ones just like if you do enough real estate deals, you will lose money. If you do enough real estate deals, you will lose money on a deal eventually. Ask me how I know.
Eventually. That's
Eventually.
the key.
Your
It
key is-
doesn't have to be at first. Making sure your first deal is a home run is so very important.
You
and
took the
need
words
to-
right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say next.
You need to align with somebody that you like, and you can trust to help you get that first home run.
You got to make sure your first deal is a home run. That is so important. Make sure your first deal is a home run. So if you've tried other programs in the past, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Like I said, we've had students that have said, I wish I would have found you first. I can't do anything about that, but I can help you from here on out.
Right.
Okay? And you just got to remember, it's not about the education. It's about the application, right?
Right.
I've tried this program, I've tried that program, but not only that, but some students, okay, check this out. Some students, check it. Some students can get a book, and they can go out and make money with the book.
Yes, they can.
I get emails all the time from students that said, hey, Larry, I read your free book, and I went out and made
Got
some
a HUD
money.
book. Yeah, I got a HUD
Oh, my
property.
gosh. I'm like, dang. I should start getting a percentage of their profits, right? So, and then I have some people that they get a book, and the book's okay. They read the book, but then they get a home study course, and they go out and do a deal.
Yeah.
I got your home study course. It was $1,000, and I made $10,000 on a deal.
Right.
So you made 10 times your money back. And then we have some students that they need that arm around the shoulder. They need somebody to call on. They need somebody to walk with them. It's like Ron in our office, one of our ed consultants. He says, Larry doesn't teach you how to swim. He jumps in the pool with you, swims
Right.
along beside you, right?
Very true.
So it's a little different in that sense, but some people need that. Some people need that hand-holding and need you to walk them and guide them through that deal, right?
Right. But you got to be honest with yourself and know which one of those people you are. We also have students that have, gotten the course and done 60 deals, and then they've gotten to a certain level and they've plateaued. And so then they come in and they want to know how to get their business more on either autopilot or to the next level where they're doing 100 to 200 deals a year instead of the 60 that they were on.
How to scale their
There
business.
you go.
And that's one of the things that we do. If you're an experienced investor, we help the experienced investors scale. It's kind of like I tell people, you talk about a book, a home study course, or personal one-on-one coaching and mentoring. Here's the way to break that down. Do you want to crawl? Do you want to walk? Or do you want to run? What do you want to do? If you're in a position and you want to run, then you need somebody to hold your hand and work with you and walk you through a deal and get you up and running absolutely as soon as possible to get your first deal closed.
Right.
Right? Just like our student last week, Jared last week, he signed up for our Inner Circle program, and his very first deal, he made back twice the money on his very first deal. Right?
Right.
So, do you want to crawl, you want to walk, you want to run? But go out there and get some education, and not everybody's perfect. There's a lot of great educators out there that can help you. There's a lot of good free information, but remember, you get what you pay for, but there is a lot of good free education and information out there on the internet, YouTube videos, all that. But, we even have free information, right?
That's right, yeah. So if you guys give a call to 877-LARRY-GO, you can get a free investor's kit, and it's got a lot of good startup information, a couple copies of Larry's latest books, HUD Homes Half Off, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. Schedule an office tour, come by and pick up the physical kit if you're close enough to do so, or we could send you the digital. Get registered for the next 3-day event. I know we got one coming up in Charlotte. Also, just ask some questions about mentoring if that's something that you are already interested in with hearing us today. We will be right back after this break. Welcome back, Bragg Radio. All about investing in real estate to be rich and generous. Talking about people that are emailing in with how do I get started, and we're asking them a question right back that says, well, what's stopping you from getting started now? What has stopped you before? And just kind of facing those things head on.
And we got a whole rash of them, right?
Rash of them.
A whole rash full
Big
list.
old list of them, yeah.
A plethora of them.
Plethora. There we go. Thank you, Chad.
That's a good word.
Plethora. I'm going to use that sometime again today. Plethora.
Good for you.
So we've talked about, one of the reasons people haven't been able to get started is have a full-time job. Another one is they've tried other programs before. How are we different? You guys can go back to the show archives on braggradio.com and listen to how we kind of combat those and get some ideas, hopefully, for yourself if those are one of the two things that you're facing. Another thing that I get a lot is, about the risk of real estate and doing something wrong and getting sued. What if I get sued because I did something that I wasn't supposed to do or whatever? So how do you handle that one, Mr. Goins?
Well, how do you handle what if I get sued? Well, the first thing is preparation is the key, okay? Mm-hmm. You build your business on a solid foundation. I don't care if you have $2.98 in your checking account, okay? It doesn't make any – that's $3.98, by the way. I don't care how much money you have in your checking account. It doesn't make any difference. You want to start your business on a solid, sound foundation, okay? Don't go out. Number one, do good, clean, honest, ethical business, right?
Right.
That's the key. Do good, clean, honest, ethical business. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Treat people the way they want to be treated, right? Remember the golden rule, and it's not he who has the gold rules. That's not it, okay? So do good, clean, honest, ethical business and run your business like a business. Keep it separate from your personal business, because the reason is if anything ever did happen and you were ever to get sued, you want your business to be separate from your personal life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want your business to be different from your personal life, because if you're just doing deals personally and not in an entity like an LLC or a corporation or a trust or whatever, then the problem that's going to happen is if you're, writing checks out of your personal account for materials or deposits and for the grocery store and for your car insurance and all that stuff, it's one thing. It's all in together with your personal life, right? So you want to keep your business separate. That's very, very important, okay? So you can set up what's called an LLC. That's a limited liability company, and it could be taxed as an S-corp, or it could be a pass-through entity, or what they call a disregarded entity for tax purposes. And that's some of the things that we can help you with and guide you. In fact, we have an organization that we work with that all of our students can go to get good, sound advice about what kind of entity structuring, tax planning, corporate credit, and estate planning. And that's one of the benefits of being one of our students, is we help students be able to do that. But I'm a firm believer in keep it as simple as possible. If you're starting out, number one, you need to have an entity if you're buying and selling. Let's say you're buying and fixing and flipping, or you're buying and wholesaling. Wholesaling is one of the quickest ways to get started.
Right.
Okay? Because you could turn $100 into $10,000 and
not ever take title.
Not ever take title, or not ever have any more money than $100 at risk.
Right.
Right? So you could do that. And that's probably one of the quickest ways there is to get started. So you have an entity just for that, for buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling. Now, once you get to the point where you are going to buy and hold, or you're going to make long-term investments, okay, you get chunks of cash, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and then you build those up. Let's say you get 3 or 4 $10,000 checks, then you turn around and you buy 1 or 2 rental houses, right? Mm-hmm. And you could do lease options, you could do seller financing, or you could just do straight rentals, right? So now those properties are going to be held in a separate entity, which is typically a disregarded entity for tax purposes, but it's also an LLC. Now, as you grow, you could use trust. Trust is like a 1 or 2 or 3 page document where there's a trustee, a beneficiary, right, and the trust agreement. And those help maintain what's called anonymity. If you buy a property in a trust, which a lot of people think, oh my gosh, it costs hundreds or thousands of dollars to set up a trust. No, not at all. It's just one document.
That's the same thing with LLCs. A lot of people think that it's really expensive to set up and get, set up as an LLC, and it's not really. No,
not comparatively speaking, it's not.
Right.
It isn't. But you do need good, sound legal advice. Absolutely.
Very true.
Absolutely. So, you can start out with one entity, buy and sell. When you start buying to hold, you'll have another entity. If you want to maintain anonymity, if you're buying, let's say you're buying a mobile home park, okay? And I would say there's a little bit more risk in a mobile home park than there is in just a single family house. So if it's a mobile home park, you might want to put it in a separate trust or in a separate entity by itself, right? So, and the large assets like commercial buildings, multifamily or whatever, you want to have each one of those in a separate entity as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So all of that just protects you in situations that could occur where you could be sued for something.
Right. But the key is, number 1, have good entities. Number 2, keep your business separate from your personal, right? And number 3, have good liability insurance. You want to have good liability insurance, and that's something that we can help you out with as well. Show you who to go to, what to do, and how to do it, and have good liability insurance. And if you're buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling, like wholesaling or fix and flips, that is a business, okay? That's business income. It's ordinary income.
Right.
It's not a real estate investment. It's business you're buying and selling.
That's right.
So you need liability insurance for that, okay? Now, over here on your buy and hold properties, your investments, right, you also need insurance, but it's a totally different kind of insurance. It's liability from properties. What if the tenant has somebody come over and they have a party and they're out on the deck and the deck breaks and falls down and hurts several people, right? That's property liability insurance for the actual property. So you need insurance, you need good LLCs, corporations, and the use of trust, the more you do deals, as well as keeping business separate from personal. And, you can buy deals even in your retirement account. And if you do it in your retirement account, you can also set up an LLC for your retirement account, and your retirement account invests in that LLC, then that LLC goes out and buys and sells properties. So you can make money in your IRA and still be protected from lawsuits, even if you're buying houses in your IRA, your 401k, or your HSA health savings account, or even your ESA, your education savings account. You can have LLCs for all of those. And I know, you and I, that's exactly what we do.
Right.
We have LLCs for our retirement accounts, our HSA, our 401k. So even if something happens, that LLC is separate from us and separate from our IRA, and it enables us to provide asset protection. Does that make sense?
That's right.
Was that a good answer?
I think it was a good answer. I think it gave enough information that at least if they are confused, they can reach out and get answers to why they're confused.
What?
So, given that, sometimes, well, here's the thing. Sometimes questions breed more questions, right? So
that's true. That is true.
If you got confused or if you want more information, give us a call, 877-LARRY-GO, 877-LARRY-GO. You can request clarification on what we talked about today. You can request show notes, info@bragradio.com to do those two things as well. We also have the 3-day event coming up at the end of October that you could get registered for, either by going to info@bragradio.com or by going to Larry Goins Live. You can schedule an office tour to come by and pick up a physical investor's kit. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. Give us a call, 877-LARRY-GO. Welcome back to Brag Radio, here with Larry and Kandas. So this week we have Heidi and Jeremy with us.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Larry, how are you?
We're doing excellent. How are you guys?
Doing
Wonderful. Thank
She's
you.
so happy. She's so excited.
She's glowing.
great. She's always glowing.
Oh, that's so
awesome.
Jeremy, that's so sweet.
That's really good. Well, you guys are expecting another child, right?
Yes, we are.
Congratulations. Jeremy
That's-
was telling us that a little bit earlier. We didn't know.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's number 7.
Number
That's
7.
insane. You know what causes that, right?
We have a lot of fun.
Good.
Apparently. Well, I've always, and listen, I commend you guys for doing that. That is awesome. And but I've always been of the philosophy you don't want them to outnumber you.
Well, it's too late for that.
Yeah, y'all are way past
I know,
that.
right?
We're totally outnumbered.
Oh, yeah.
That
One
is
reason we
great.
need to build our real estate empire.
There you go.
Put them all to work.
Find them somewhere to live.
Yeah, so we're actively supplying jobs for everyone in our family by taking on a real estate business.
There you go.
Awesome.
And it won't be long. You'll have enough for a whole ball team, too.
Right.
That's right.
So where do you guys live?
We are in Middle Tennessee, just outside of Nashville.
Awesome, awesome. And tell us a little bit about your real estate business, kind of how you met us and that sort of thing, and then a little bit about what you're doing in real estate.
Well, Larry, we first saw you speak at one of Ray Perry's home business conferences. And we were looking at the time for something that we could take on as a family. Jeremy is still working a professional job. And it needed to be something that I could run, or at least get started myself, and bring the older children alongside and get the ball rolling myself. And then Jeremy could come on when he had the opportunity and work on it as time allows for him to do so. And once we heard you speak and talk about your Filthy Riches course specifically, we just knew that that was exactly what we were looking for, because we needed something where we could just have full control over the time that it takes, and we don't have a lot of skills in home rebuilding or remodeling. That's just not a skill set that we particularly have, so we didn't want to have to spend a lot of time doing that or managing properties. We don't want to do that either. We're just not interested in being landlords, and so your program was a perfect fit for us.
That's right. My background is in marketing, and I have a business degree, so we really enjoy that aspect of the business and the system. Definitely enjoy the opportunity to serve others as a part of that process as well. And we had explored other family-based businesses in the past, network marketing as an example, and just never really fit for the dynamics of our family or what we felt are our strengths. And I'd seen real estate be successful with other people, and we know that they're not making any more land. And we just feel like we finally found a system that we could really pick up and run with.
I'm really glad that you guys feel that way about the program, that is our program that you found a home with, and not just the program, but with the office too. You guys have been to the office, right?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but we do have some personalized coaching, and that has helped tremendously as well.
Nice.
Through your office. The coaching is through your office.
Yeah, you're in our inner circle, and you're working
Right.
with our head coach.
Correct.
That's
correct.
great. That
These
is
days we'll
great.
make it out to South Carolina.
Oh, so you are planning, though, to be able to come by?
We are, definitely.
That's really good. That's really good. Now, the model you guys are doing that you just mentioned is our Filthy Riches model, which, just for everybody listening, that's where you pick up houses I mean, really the kind of the tagline is, how to make more money on a rundown $5,000 house nobody else wants than most investors make on a $100,000 house. But really, it's just buying lower price houses and then selling them for 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 times what you paid for it with owner financing. And that's all without having to rehab it and without tenants, trash, toilets, and termites. But you're helping people become homeowners at the same time, which is really the cool part about this, isn't it?
Absolutely. It feels so good to be able to help others through that process, as well as developing relationships with real estate agents and other people that we call our power team that can aid us in that process. Just one quick example before we dive in further to what we're actually doing. We gave a gift basket to our agent who has been helping us identify properties that fit the model, and he said that we were the first clients of his that had ever shown that much interest in what he's doing and helping him succeed as well. So that's just an immediate example.
And people love to work for you when you do stuff.
That's awesome.
That's great. I love it.
They're looking for ways to find more business to throw your direction, because then everybody's happy, everybody's making some money at least, and it's a great feeling, that may not be necessarily philanthropic in and of itself, but everybody is making some money along the way, and that is a good feeling.
I think it's profound. I think being able to make anybody feel better about what they do and having a value to what they do is only going to help.
Yeah, precisely. And I love the ability to bring my older children alongside, too, and explain, well, today we're going to work on this, and today I'm going to start making these phone calls. And my oldest son and I sat down and went through the program together the first time, and afterwards we both looked at each other like, can we start making phone calls now? Wow. And so I even called your assistant, Larry, and I said, can I really just start calling people? So, yeah, you're good to go. So my oldest son and I just started making phone calls and calling on houses and just, jumping off that diving board and giving it a try.
Well, that is the 3 most important things in real estate. Make offers, make offers, make offers.
Yes,
that's right.
Exactly. And that's part of what we're focused on, really starting to automate a lot of that and to build it to scale. And Colin, our oldest son, he just turned 15, and he's really interested in graphic design and Adobe Photoshop and the like.
Great.
So he's really taking on the responsibilities of building our templates for the signs and postcards, et cetera. So it allows him to tap into some of those other interests as well and add to his resume that he's focusing it on real estate interests.
That's great. In the couple minutes we got left, tell us a little bit about how you guys are being generous.
Sure. So the first thing, which really feels good, is that we've been able to employ local contractors from our community on these projects. So, with the minimal amount of work that needed to be performed on our first couple of properties, being able to keep that employment in the community, getting those tax dollars in the local community has been a big part of it.
That's great.
That's really one small step, and then really going into next year, we really have a vision for building a nonprofit arm and actually providing nonprofit community development and affordable housing to those with significant needs. And Heidi can talk more about that.
Yeah, we're specifically interested in helping victims of human trafficking. This is an international problem, and so we're interested in raising awareness of this crisis and helping victims of that problem.
That's awesome.
Just with the minimal amount of advertising we've done so far, just hearing people's stories about their unfortunate circumstances and the headaches they've encountered of not being able to qualify for traditional financing or being in unhealthy relationships and looking for a way out and needing a place to stay, we really have a heart for being able to provide that type of affordable housing solutions in the new year.
That's great. And that's one of the best things about this whole model that we call Filthy Riches is not only are you making money, but you're able to help others. Like you said, you're able to employ local people, stimulate the economy, keeping people in work, having things for them to do. But also, we're giving people a chance that maybe need a second chance to be able to do real estate or be able to just find a place to live where they're not throwing their money away in rent, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it feels so good to be able to even just donate to certain philanthropic industries that you couldn't donate to before if you weren't working in real estate and making some larger sums of money at one time. You know, it's one thing to be paying your bills and just taking care of your own lifestyle, but then when you see the problems happening in the world, and specifically with human trafficking, you want to help. And if you don't have any extra income, you can't help. And that's just not a good feeling at all. And it's so important for us, for our children, to see that we're giving back to the community. We're specifically reaching out to a people group who has a lot of victims and really needs some help. So it's just good to be able to work with organizations that are raising awareness on human trafficking.
For more information about what Larry and Kandas discussed on today's Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous, go to braggradio.com. You can also call 877-LARRY-GO for a free investor's kit, or to schedule a tour of the office or get more information on upcoming events. That's 877-527-7946. Tune in again next Saturday as best-selling real estate investing author Larry Goins and co-host Kandas teach you the latest strategies and techniques the pros use to make money in real estate. It's Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous on News 1110 99.3 WBT.